Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and continuing on with the Christmas in July, where I review a batch of Disney TV animated episodes that are Christmassy, and yes, all part of Christmas in July. You know the drill, so yes. So, as was teased in the last review video, the second Disney TV animated episode that's Christmassy that I am now reviewing, you're watching, and yeah, because you read the title, you know what this is. And as I specifically teased, with the mentioning of Buzz Lightyear. Duh, so yes. So that's right. An episode from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command that's Christmassy. And, coming straight from Season 2, Episode 10, that being Holiday Time. Yes. Season 2, Episode 10, Holiday Time of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Yeah, and the first things I have to say, and, to quickly mention about the show itself. Well, of course, I've reviewed the show itself entirely if you want to go check it out, but just very quickly, because, the show itself, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, was one of my top jams. I had, one or two, VHS tapes where my mom recorded a batch of episodes. But when watching I did watch other episodes of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command on TV itself, most prominently on Toon Disney. And this is one of those episodes that was not recorded on tape, but I did see on TV. And that, of course, being the Christmassy episode of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. So the show being one of my top jams, I loved watching the show. I have so many fond memories with Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and I'm sure the same would go for some of you. And, and of course, I'm sure for a lot of us who grew up watching Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, we would remember that the show had a Christmas episode. And the Christmas episode of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command itself, Holiday Time, well, it's pretty interesting with what goes on in this episode. The fact that, we legitimately get Santa Claus appearing in the world of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and how Santa is portrayed in this episode of Buzz Lightyear, and the fact because, Santa, he lives in outer space, and his very own North Pole happens to be its own, space station or something in a snow globe in outer space, literally. And, and the fact because Buzz teams up with Santa, because, the evil Emperor Zurg has done something evil this time that has to do with Christmas, and something he stole from Santa. And the fact because, whom are Santa's little helpers is pretty interesting. All the gadgetries and stuff that, comes from the North Pole in this. The interactions between Santa and Buzz. And, of course, with Mira, Booster, and XR being there. And XR, most prominently at times, being like the Scrooge of this episode. And it's pretty interesting because, for Buzz Lightyear and his team, Team Lightyear, having to work alongside with Santa, and in order to save the holiday season from Zurg's evil doings and such, it's pretty interesting. And, having done some rewatches, and, even doing a rewatch of this, and because I'm reviewing it, it's still a fun episode to watch of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. This being the only Christmassy episode it had, the show had, and, even I think probably because there would probably be probably 2 or 3 episodes of the show where, it seemed Halloweenish, and I think you know what I'm referring to, But most prominently, for Christmas, this. Very interesting. But just overall, Season 2, Episode 10 of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Holiday Time. Pretty good, interesting, fun, all above. Alright, so with the first things I've had to say about the episode itself now out of the way, now as always, for me, read the description / the story. Buzz and the gang must help Santa save the holiday season, yes, season should be in there, I think, in the description / the story, from the evil Emperor Zurg. Okay, and that was a very short one, but all right. Now let's get into the episode itself and break it down, because, yeah, well, it's Christmas time, and yeah, we first see Mira and XR, looking at some of the Christmas decorations and seeing all the happy, smiley faces of the children. But XR, on the other hand, as I said, him kind of being the Scrooge of this episode, but, just overall, he doesn't get the holiday season. He doesn't get the meaning of it, and so on. And Mira basically establishing to XR very well, about, the whole thing of Christmas, because, it's the season of giving, and, everybody getting along around Christmas, and the children being so happy, exchanging gifts and all that, and, something magical about the holiday season. And then just out of nowhere, this little boy, then grabs XR. Mommy, I want one of these. But just, and yeah, just, XR just complaining about that. That was funny. And then seeing Buzz himself, he's dressed up as Santa, doing that thing where, ringing the bell and, money and such, that whole thing. And even Buzz, of course, he can tell that, XR is acting like a Scrooge and such, yeah. And then at one point, enter Santa Claus himself. However, Buzz, Mira, and XR, most prominently Buzz, not really sure if it is the Santa, but it is, and I think us, the audience, would sense that it is Santa. And Santa, being credited as Nick, being voiced by the late Earl Boen. Yeah, Earl Boen, great actor, and yeah, what he brought to the voice performance of Santa in this, yeah, pretty good. And I think we would all remember him best as Dr. Silberman. I think, yeah, I'm saying his name right, from the Terminator films, yeah. Oh, and he was also Dr. Eisendrath, if I'm saying his name right, from the third Naked Gun film. So, yeah. But anyways, so, as I was saying, yeah, his voice performance as Santa, but being referred to in the credits as Nick. Yeah, pretty interesting. And, well, Nick is in need of assistance / help from Buzz. But that's interrupted when at one point Booster gets in contact with Buzz because he's being ambushed by angry kids because you're not Santa, throwing snowballs at him. But then Buzz showing up, managing to, calm down the little bratty kids and such. And, yeah, Mira and XR have to, take over what Santa is in need of assistance for, the help he needs. And yeah, well, because even after that, well, they're all called up to Star Command, because basically they've gotten word that Zurg is going to do 3 things that easily, because he's going to break into Star Command, totally trash the rockets, even the Star Cruisers, yeah, the Star Cruisers. And he's also going to free some prisoners, and he's going to steal Buzz's newspaper by tomorrow. So, yeah, we see them, being prepared for Zurg's appearance in Star Command, but with a flash of light, yeah, Zurg already came and went, totally trashing the Star Cruisers. Then when they're at the space prison, yeah, another flash of light, and Zurg had freed all of the prisoners. Then by the next morning, Buzz collecting his newspaper, but with a flash of light, Zurg pops in, morning, he grabbed the newspaper, and then boom, he's gone, another flash of light. And how's he doing this? Well, that's when, yeah, I presume, yeah, later that same evening, at, outside of the Galactic Alliance, the headquarters of the Galactic Alliance, well, a tall tree being activated and such, and yeah, everybody gathered to see it, and Santa and Buzz running into each other once again, and Buzz still not sure if it is Santa, but Booster especially, he believes as though that it is Santa, so good on Booster. And, well, it's brought up that Buzz stopped believing in Santa at the age of 9. Really? At the age of 9? Dang. And a mentioning of Buzz at the age of 9 wanting to have this, blaster gun and such. And Santa, talking about that, and even mentioning about the Fluffy incident, where Buzz accidentally used his new weapon on his cat Fluffy. And apparently, nobody knew about that incident of Buzz's cat Fluffy. Only Santa knew that, and Buzz having a quick flashback when he was 9 years old. And that's a very rare moment to see a child version of Buzz Lightyear. Don't you think? Just, yeah, very interesting. And that's the last we see of it, especially on account of this show. But anyways, yeah, so that's when Buzz then starts to process in him that, yeah, this is legitimately Santa Claus. Even Santa was mentioning at times that, the world just stopped believing, and those in the world of Buzz Lightyear Star Command. But, then Santa mentioning that, what Zurg is going to do next, and far more than, say, taking down Star Command and such. Well, with another flash of light, the tall tree that activated and such and lit up outside of the headquarters of the Galactic Alliance, it's gone. Zurg took it. And that being the one thing that brought everyone together, because, yeah, again, Christmas time being the time when everyone gets together, gets along pretty well. But with this, they all feel very sad and depressed. Just, yeah, where's the hope of Christmas? Especially since, the tree was stolen. But then, Santa inviting Buzz over to, where he resides, and, very secret. And that, of course, being the North Pole. However, yeah, the North Pole in Buzz Lightyear Star Command is called North Polaris. I think I'm pronouncing that right, yeah. And, well, even before they show up, because Santa explains that, yeah, Zurg showing up at one point and stealing something from Santa's, and that being the Crotal Disruptor. I think I'm saying that right, yeah. Basically, what it is, yeah, something that Zurg had been using, and with those flash of light, and he was doing all this stuff very quickly and not being caught. Yeah, because that's something that was Santa's, but Zurg stole. Santa uses that to freeze and stop time, and in order to, set all the presents and have all the milk and cookies he can have, and then boom, when pressing the button, time resumes, and yeah, very clever. It's very clever with how it's done in this. But yeah, once again, as I said, Zurg had gotten his hands on it and is doing evil things with it, and as we've been seeing so far in this episode. And again, Buzz and Santa making their way to the North Pole, and we see Santa's little helpers, which, okay, is it obvious whom they would be? Duh, LGMs, although Santa calls them elf GMs. Yeah, and Buzz just, surprised to see that the little green men, or LGMs for short, they are at the North Pole, and in Santa's workshop, well, one of them explains that some of us work for you, others work, the rest of us work for Santa. Yeah, and not to mention that the elf GMs, they were the ones that designed the Crotal Disruptor. Yeah, but again, with Zurg having stolen it. However, they are working on a new version, although it's gonna take 1 week until it's ready. And Santa doesn't have until 1 week until it's ready because, Christmas Eve and all that, he's got to deliver the toys. And the fact that he states in this episode, he never missed a delivery on Christmas Eve. Never once. And of course he wouldn't. And another device that the elf GMs show, and because Buzz is wondering how Santa still delivered the presents before the Disruptor came in the picture. Well, something else that the LGMs designed, which being the Hyperspeed Accelerator. Yeah, being a very fast contraption, just very quick and so on. But yeah, Santa not being thrilled when that pops in and just, yeah, he's totally done using that and, would rather prefer using the Crotal Disruptor. Yeah. But, however, an idea occurs where maybe the Hyperspeed Accelerator could be very handy in order to stop and take down Zurg, and in order to retrieve the Disruptor. And thus, Buzz contacts his team on Star Cruiser 42, didn't say where he was, but he told them to meet him at the Trade World. Yes, the planet Trade World. So thus, Mira, Booster, and XR, they make their way to the Trade World, and thus where, Lightyear and Santa show up, and properly and officially, Buzz introducing his team to the Santa, and Booster knowing all along, just, yeah. So, with them getting prepared for Zurg to show up, in fact, Buzz doing this transmission and, like, this broadcast, telling everyone that, the holidays being on Trade World and so on, and basically, yeah, to get Zurg's attention, and that's exactly what happens, yep. Managing to get Zurg's attention like that, and Zurg, of course, showing up at Trade World and is about to use the Crodal Disruptor. But, of course, Buzz, with the hyperspeed accelerator, on his back, and thus, in order to use it to go very fast and stop Zurg. But is it too late? Because Zurg activates the disruptor and everything's frozen. And it looks like Buzz is frozen, but no, he's not. He managed to pull through. And this sequence where Buzz and Zurg are chasing one another through parts of Trade World, and man, I totally had forgotten about this, where the music, the music that plays during this sequence is very interesting. It's like, if you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. A very rare moment because, usually because most of the music and score, not all the time, but still, being reused for the show itself, but still, But once in a while, different pieces of music would be in some episodes of Buzz Lightyear, and in this one, for example. But just, yeah, but that was pretty cool. And just, yeah, all the fast pacing, and yeah, where each Buzz and Zurg, they're firing their blasters, and just, yeah. But in the end, they knock into one another, and well, yeah, because the disruptor breaks, and so does the hyperspeed accelerator. Yeah, and they're about to fire on one another, but Zurg, on the other hand, his weapon from his clutches, it's not working. It's like he ran out of bullets or something. And Zurg saying one of Buzz's lines, oh, craters. Yeah. But that's not over there, because, well, not only did, yeah, the Crodal Disruptor break, well, so did the hyperspeed accelerator. If only that hadn't broken, probably could have used that for Santa to deliver the gifts on time. And Zurg thinking that, yeah, he succeeded on destroying Christmas this year. And with Zurg escaping once again, and just, yeah. And what's next? Well, they all go back to the North Pole, and for Mira, Booster, and XR, this is the first time they're seeing the North Pole and Santa's workshop and them being amazed. But with that out of the way, what the heck are they going to do now? Because, with nothing for Santa to use in order to proceed and make progress to deliver gifts. Well, that's when another contraption that was used in the past, before the hyperspeed accelerator and before the disruptor came in, before those two came in, there was his sleigh. And Buzz thinking that, they can still use that old contraption of Santa's and make progress. And the only way to power up the sleigh is for there to be belief in Santa. From Mira, Booster, and Lightyear, they believe in Santa. But that is except for XR. And man, because them getting to XR, and most prominently Santa. Santa establishing that XR does believe, but he won't admit it. But of course, yeah, it manages to work. XR believing, and thus, yeah, the sleigh is all powered up. And also, with that, Team Lightyear helps out Santa deliver the gifts. Yep, so a little montage of them delivering the gifts, and even, like, say, quick cameos of the fish people, from that fish planet, and also that little alien girl that Booster encountered, and, the little alien girl calling him Pickles, yeah, her. And yeah, after all that, they celebrate back at the North Polaris, and, yep, cup of hot chocolate, and just, yep, with all the success they did, all throughout the evening, Christmas Eve, and XR is nowhere to be seen. Where is he? Well, that's because Santa explains that he wanted to do something, which basically, yeah, making the little boy who wanted to have XR as a Christmas gift to make the best Christmas for him, to actually be there and to be unwrapped. So, yeah, well, that was great and sweet of XR right there. Just, yeah, really having Christmas in his heart, in his robotic heart, I guess you could say. Knowing the true meaning of Christmas and getting the whole thing of Christmas, yeah. And the little boy being happy and just, yeah. It was a great way to end off this episode. And with XR, whom from the start didn't believe just didn't get the whole thing / meaning of Christmas, but then he did in the end. It's great. But yeah, so overall, Season 2, Episode 10 of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Holiday Time, was a pretty good episode, and this being the first and only Christmassy episode that Buzz Lightyear of Star Command ever had. Everything about this Christmassy episode, from beginning to end, was pretty awesome, yeah, and fun. You know, with the storyline, with how Santa is done in the world of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the North Pole, his workshop, the contraptions and devices that Santa has, and, you know, one of them that Zurg steals, and screwing up everything, you know, very evil, and just, yeah, almost ruined the holiday season. And, you know, because, yeah, no curse you Buzz Lightyear in this. Because, you know, we could have had a moment where Zurg, you know, discovering that Christmas still did come, and with the help of Team Lightyear, yeah. And with, you know, with what goes on with the characters, like, you know, most prominently XR not getting the holiday season, the appearance of Santa, and the fact that the LGMs are the elves, you know, being referred to as elf GMs, Commander Nebula's appearance, the little boy who liked XR, moments with Mira, Booster, and Buzz Lightyear, because with, you know, his interactions and teaming up with Santa, just, yeah. And the music, the animation, just everything about this Christmassy episode from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command was really good. And I'm giving Season 2, Episode 10 of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Holiday Time, well, why not? Yeah, 8 out of 10 stars. Yes, 8 out of 10 stars for Season 2, Episode 10 of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Holiday Time. And what about you guys? What did you think of the episode itself from Season 2 of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Episode 10, Holiday Time? Do you have any memories of watching this episode? You know, or you've seen it, like, say, on the internet, social media, most notably YouTube. You know, and which are some of your favorite episodes of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command? Your favorite moments that came from this Christmassy episode? Just, yeah, overall, what do you think of this Christmassy episode that comes straight from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command itself, Holiday Time, and with what I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Season 2, Episode 10 of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Holiday Time. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward. And I will see you guys in the next video / review. And continuing on with the Christmas in July, where I review a batch of Disney TV animated episodes that are Christmassy, the next and third Disney TV animated episode that's Christmassy that I'll be reviewing, well, to best describe it, well, it's something else, science fiction, and let's just say it has to do with our favorite experiment, 626. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just, yeah, again, stay tuned for that. Part of the Christmas in July, where I review, you know, Disney TV animated episodes that are Christmassy. Yeah, you know the drill. Take care, and peace out. And to infinity and beyond.